Welcome back. So in this video we're going to be looking at the heating and the pipe runs that I'm going to do for that, and also the heater itself and kind of the box section that I've made up for that. So let's go and have a look. Now the instructions will tell you can use a VW Polo heater, slightly refurbished, pre-2000 I believe, which is quite a good cheap option, or you can purchase a new heater from an online store. However, IVA requirements in the UK tell us that we can't let the heater draw in air from the engine compartment. Therefore, you have to port the air from maybe the wheel well or the passenger compartment. Now, to do this, you'll be taking your heater, whether it's new or old, and you'll have to block off the end or anywhere it can draw in the air, and then add some ducting and some tubing to the cockpit area or maybe the wheel well area. However, I don't really like this solution because it leaves the heater unit quite open to the elements. Now, it is slightly protected by the bell housing. It's situated just above that, but generally there's going to be some dampness coming in perhaps, and who knows what when you're driving or get caught out on a wet day. Now, those elements are going to get into the wiring maybe, and maybe cause some sort of corrosion around the pipes. So my solution is to box it all in. It's a really nice solution. It will cost a couple of pounds, but it means it's well protected, and it also means that the heater is quite easily removable in case of any issues. Okay, so the instructions for all of this are on my website, which is linked below. But basically, you'll be going to a metal warehouse and having these sections cut out for you, which is about £25. And then I just went to my local welders, because it's 2 millimeter thick aluminium. Went to my local welders, and they basically welded this box up so that it's watertight. This section here is the mounting flange, because you'll just be making a hole and sliding this whole unit in through the dash, and then fixing it with some holes into the dash. This keeps the heater completely free from the environment, and I'll simply attach ducting on here with some piping into the passenger compartment, and that is the solution. Once it's sprayed up, bit of Hammerite smooth black, it looks awesome. So let me just show you what I've done here. So once you've been to your friendly welders, who should be able to weld this kind of unit up for about £25 cash in hand, then you simply have to start drilling some holes. So you can see that I've already made some holes on the side here. So on the side here, I'll be mounting these ducting units. I've got some nice ducting pipe, a metallic actually, so it makes the engine bay look a bit smarter, and that will go into the passenger compartment. Here's my hole for the wiring to come through, and I've got to make 2 holes on the back for my pipes. Now I've got these 90 degree pipes. They'll be attaching inside into the heater unit, and then they come out really nicely between some grommets, and that attaches to your water pipes from the engine. So I'm now going to drill some holes. So now I've made my holes, I'm going to show you the basics of the installation, and then when it's in another couple of months when I actually come to fit it, I'll show you how it's fitted, although you can refer to my website to see a fully finished version. Okay, so first of all I need to install the outlet plenum on the front of the heater. Now to do this I need to use some short screws, because you can only go to a depth of 10mm, so you would fit this on here. Now obviously you don't know where the holes are, so a good way of doing that is stick a bit of tape on the side, mark your hole, keep the tape in place, lay the tape back over, and that should be where you need your hole. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm going to mark my hole here, make sure that tape is securely in place, put the plenum where I want it, reposition, and that is where I'm going to need my hole. So let's mount the plenum first. Okay, so let me show you the basics of the installation now that all the holes are done. You'd obviously fit grommets wherever there's a wire coming out or the pipes coming out of the back. And I'll basically put the pipes on here. You need to use at least 2 Jubilee clips on here to make sure there's not going to be any leaks, because once you know there's about a leak, then it's going to be too late. You would just straighten these and poke them out of the back holes. Some silicone lubricant could come in handy there just to get it out through the grommet. Okay, and you'd obviously poke the wires up through the grommet here. And then fit the heater into place, and it should go roughly flush about there. You don't need to worry that this isn't airtight around here, because this side of the unit is going to be in the cockpit and drawing air in, clean air in around the sides into the heater. So that's absolutely fine. I then put my bolts, my long bolts straight through to contain the heater. They'll go right through. My pipes by now would be jutting out of the back. You would then connect them to the rest of the heating system coming out of the engine with some joining pipes and some Jubilee clips. And that is essentially my nice clean solution for heating an AK Cobra. The Plenum outlets here would be cut off, and you would join them up to the demist vents of the windscreen. You could utilise these Plenum outlets to maybe put heat into the cabin, so you can enjoy those chilly November days. And my next job later on will just be to fit these on here, spray it all black, and these will be my ducting for the intakes from the cockpit area. So a nice sealed unit there, well protected from the elements, and I think it's quite a neat solution. So onto the heater hoses. Now the instructions don't give you a real guide to installing the heater hoses, but generally they call for these right angles to be shortened, and then you'll be joining the heater hose up around here, and they will run underneath the headers and the J pipes that go out to the exhausts, past the starter motor, and then they will be going up towards your heater. Now it's really busy around here. It's right next to the starter motor. It's right next to the extremely hot headers and J pipes that come out, and you know they're resting on top of your brake lines, etc. And I just think there's quite a lot happening, and it gets really hot. And although silicone hoses aren't affected by the heat, obviously what's inside is. So I'm going to go for a different solution. You could run a hard line, I guess. You'd have to think of the path for that, and you'd be able to cover that in heat resistant film or whatever. But what I'm going to do is use the silicone hoses because of their flexibility, and I'm going to be taking them out down here and running them underneath alongside the bottom of the chassis, underneath the starter motor, and then they're going to come up here, and then they will meet up with the heater around here. So I'm going to have a look at see if I can manufacture some brackets and make a good run of that and see what else is happening. The other reason I want to do that, I just want to keep them away. It's extremely busy, as you can tell. You've got the manifolds here, and the J pipes are going to be coming out. You've got wires going into from the battery, etc., going into your starter motor here, and you know, to have 2 pipes running along here, it's just all happening. And of course, going across the top of the pipes here, you'll be having your steering column, and they skim pretty close to the top here. So yeah, I think I just want to keep them all out of the way and make it a simpler install and easier to be able to work on things. So let me have a look. All right, so that little heating hose project seems to be fairly successful. So the heating pipes come out of here. These are not forced bend hose, no undue pressure or strain here because they're actually 135 degree bend hoses. So it's the natural shape here, going into some 90-degree aluminium pipes which go on underneath the car. Let's have a look at that. So there we go, there's the 3 brackets that I made down there. I've just done orange zip ties so you can actually see on camera, sorry about the poor lighting, where the pipes go and how they're held in. And I've got another bracket further down and then another bracket at the end. So just the 3 brackets that can support these pipes. And it keeps them all away from everything going on up here, which is the starter motor and the manifolds and all the heat, etc. And then they pop up at the end around the back of the bell housing. All right, so the heater unit that I've made simply slots through the dash and hangs around about here, just above the bell housing here. And then these heater pipes that I've put in will simply slot into their relevant connections here. So I think that's quite a nice, neat setup there. And you can see the hoses are going to be about here. Now, if they need any more supporting, the great thing about this engine, there's a load of 10mm threaded holes all around the engine. Nice, simple light bracket sticking out through any one of these holes can help support these pipes. But they just go in. And then the final thing that I'm going to install just between one of these is a bleed connector. So it's a little section and it's got a bleed screw on it, and that'll let you bleed any air out of the system, being that this is the highest point. So I really recommend putting one of those in. And with that, the heating is done. Thanks for joining me to look at the heater setup that I've come up with. Next up, first fit and trialing of the exhausts and also the first body on. See you again.